Brett Lloyd, welcome to the show.
Thank you, brother. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's good to have you. Your greatest gifts grow in the garden of your wounds. Tell me more.
My favorite quote of all time. It came from a book that I listened to from, I don't know how you say his name properly, but Trevor Boehm, I believe it is, Man Uncivilized. And ever since I heard it, it's stuck with me so strongly. It's one of those things that's been like, wow, I used to look at my wounds as a burden, as this place that I just wanted to rid myself of, to feel freedom in my body, to feel ease, to feel, just relax in my experience of life. And when I heard that, I reframed everything. And I was like, wow, okay, what have been my deepest wounds? What are the things that I've gone through in this life, and how can they teach me? And through that, my wounds became my greatest teacher. Right now I'm working as a sexuality coach. And my wounds around sexuality were tremendous at some points in my life. I still have my moments of challenge, but I've spent the last 4 years working on my emotional body, my wounds, my nervous system, my relationship to myself through sexuality and through other things. And I wouldn't be teaching it today if it wasn't for my wounds. And the way I've started to see my life, like the older I get and the more I unfold into this experience, is the more pains I have, the more I'm eventually going to have to teach people. And I don't like teaching or sharing wisdom from a space that isn't embodied truth within me. I like to experience my life, let things unfold, and then I know that on the other side of it, there's going to be a beautiful teaching of some sort. And for me, it was sexuality. It was, the wounds of, which is so strong within masculinity, of not being enough. It's like the core boy wound. We don't feel enough in here. This wound is just like sitting in there of, it's stopping us from living our most fruitful life and experiencing things so wholeheartedly. And that was my journey with sexuality. Man, I had so many experiences with shame, so many experiences of anxiety, so many experiences with closing down, that I really struggled to hold and enjoy beautiful sexual experiences. It was a wound. There were these deep wounds that sat inside me that every time I went into a sexual experience, I was like, I don't feel enough. I can't last long enough. I have this anxiety. And, the deeper it gets, the more the mind loops. And the more the mind loops, the deeper it gets. It's like this back and forth of, if you can't control the mind, the emotional experience gets bigger. If you can't control the emotional experience, the mind loops more and more. And I went through it for years in my upbringing around sexuality. I had limited education around sex. It was mostly through a screen, through porn, through performance-based mindset of watching this. And that in itself is damaging. I say we, a lot of fucking men in this world grow up as porn being our educational system for sex, and it's damaging. We then go into it with this mindset of performance. We go into it with this mindset of, you got to be massive. It is performance based, right? And that was something I took into my experiences with sex. And through that place, it was never enough. There was never a space of connection. It was trying to fill, my early days of sex was trying to fill a wound. It wasn't deep connection of like, I'm feeling your heart, you're feeling mine. We're in this shared experience. It was more like, what can I do for you so that I can feel good in myself? And a lot of people experience it. It's a deep condition I think a lot of people have because of how limited our education is around sexuality. And, I'll take that quote with me through life, knowing that if I'm in pain, if I'm going through challenge, eventually I'm going to learn. And eventually I'm going to teach that to someone. And I'm going through my own experiences right now of pain in relationship, and I'm like, cool, there's a calling to be in the relationship world one day of helping people through that. And I know through my own trials, errors, pains and unknowings that one day that's going to be an unfolding of mine too, of how can I better serve humanity through my pains, wounds to eventually embodied wisdom. And it's not a light journey. It never will be. But I've learned that that's how I learn. And that's going to be my biggest teaching in the world. So there would have been once upon a time where I said, I don't want these wounds. But today I'm grateful for them because they've made me the man I am today. And they've given me the experiences and the fuel to be better every day. If we had this thought at some stage that if everything was easy, why would I thrive and strive for more? Why would I strive to be a better human if it all just came without deep teachings, and through my experiences of sex, relationship, pains, I've taken it on board every time to try my best to be a better human. And I think that's what it's about at the end of the day. Just, all right, honoring the heart, honoring the experience that's unfolding in my body. What do you want to teach me? How can I be better in sexuality and in everyday life? And, it's not just a wound of like my sexual pains. There's so many different areas and avenues where it comes out in life. And ultimately, I will continue growing and hopefully teaching more and more as my life progresses, bro.
Beautiful. It's a great way to view pain. There's two ways to look at it. You can either take the pain and become the victim, or you can do what you're doing and use it as fuel and as a way of what you're trying to teach me.
Well, that's what it was, man. I was at this point in life. I hope you don't mind me just trailing on a little bit.
Go for it.
I got to this point where I had this relationship with a woman, and first of all, I had this relationship with a woman where we had a beautiful sexual connection. Everything was flowing. It was easeful, but I knew there was something in there still. I could feel it in the moments where I still didn't feel enough. And that relationship ended, and I ended up with another woman a little while later. And the connection wasn't as strong. The flow of our, sexual container, it wasn't easeful, right? And it was a catalyst for some of the biggest pains in my life. And she didn't cause that in me, but she brought it up in me because I still had these wounds of, I'm not enough here. I'm not holding myself well enough. I can't hold her through the experience. So ultimately, I'm not masculine enough. I'm not whole enough. And
where do you think they came from? Do you know?
I think it runs deep, This is something that I've been curious about, but haven't dove into the full depths. I do believe that our wounds are rooted in childhood through our parental figures to some degree. Was there an experience I had when I was a boy that made me feel not enough? Sure, there was probably plenty. There's probably plenty of times with, siblings, piss takings, that laugh at each other culture. And as a little boy, you don't get the humor, right? You just feel the sensitivity and the pain. And that obviously within me and to some degree within a lot of men, it still lives. And we really have to address and hold our own pains. So I think it goes deeper than just those experiences, and it could have been through unfolding of experiences in younger years with women where it maybe ejaculated early, right? And to me, that was a failure. It was fuck, not enough. What's going on? How do I fix this? And it wasn't until I came to this relationship where it was consistent and I was like, oh, fuck, like I'm struggling with anxiety and sexual container. I'm struggling with premature ejaculation. And this deep fucking wound is alive. And what I was speaking to you about before, I was off on a camping trip with a friend and we actually had some THC drops that night and I was in my swag. And I remember just feeling this wound of just being like, fuck, like it's so deep. What do I do? And I sent out a prayer to the universe. I was like, guide me on a way of figuring out how to heal this. I demand more from myself. I know there's a route where I can feel liberation and freedom within sexuality. I know there's a route where I can feel deep connection and have incredible pleasurable experiences, but in that time I wasn't. So in my despair, we spoke about not praying through despair, but that was through my despair. I put a prayer out and I was like, I need a teacher. Show me who it is. And the next day, funnily enough, how the universe works, I had a follow on Instagram through a beautiful brother of mine. His name is Jasper Brown, who was my first ever sexuality coach. And he's a beautiful brother of mine now. When we do connect, we spend a lot of time. We made a great connection through those experiences. But yeah, I was in despair and I reached out and he reached out to me the next day. And I saw his profile and I was like, specifically helping men overcome premature ejaculation and sexual dysfunctions. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, if this isn't a sign, then I'm deaf, like I'm blind to the universal things that are being brought to me. If I don't listen to this, then what do I believe in?
I've had a similar experience with that, as I was telling you before, where I was going through despair and put a prayer out. It's funny how you pray when you're in despair. And I said, I want to start praying more when I'm feeling pretty good. Just keep praying. It makes me question not religion, but what's out there. Is it all? It could go deep, but is it all just energy? Is there a God? Is there is it just a frequency that you're putting out and then it loops? And what do you think about
that? That's a good question. I think everything is connected to some degree, right? And obviously there's a certain reality that we can see with our eyes, but there's whole other dimensions that are happening beyond our vision, beyond our capacity to see what's going on. And I believe that some people have that vision, potential, capacity, openness to be able to see that. But I think of it as like another dimension beyond ours that is always listening, right? And like you said, it's frequency. I put out that frequency. The universe responded by giving me back that frequency. And, words are like spells, right?
Abracadabra. I keep getting this message, abracadabra, words are spells. And when you write words, it's spelling.
It's spelling, exactly. And it's powerful, man. It's so powerful. Like the things we speak come into our reality and, we're able to create life and bring life into fruition through our words. And we're saying that, you got to be careful, right? You got to be careful. You can talk downly upon yourself or you could speak highly upon yourself and others, and it makes a difference. Like, I remember seeing my friend's story recently. She was fermenting raw milk.
Is that kefir?
It's just like similar milk that hasn't been through a processing system, heated.
Pretty gross.
It's delicious. It's delicious, actually.
No?
I'm for it. I'm for the raw kind of world sometimes. But she would have two, right, in jars fermenting, and she would leave one and she would tell the other one, I love you, like you're beautiful. And she opened it up after a couple of weeks and this one was just like spiraled. And it just had this beautiful pattern in it. And the other one was just still. And I know there's been other studies of people doing it with rice and then talking negatively and like the rice molding when it's talked to negatively. And the other one's like sprouting and fermenting. And yeah, so in saying that, the universe is always listening. Whether you call it God, universe, spirit, it's all the same thing to me, but it's just another way that we like to word it.
I like that. I like the way you frame that, because just doing that breath work, it really helps, settle the nervous system and calm the mind a little bit so you can actually think a little bit before you speak. That's something I've had to incorporate into my life, just having a very fast brain. And I used to smoke a lot just to try and suppress that. And then I realized it's actually a superpower if I can be aware of it and understand what I can do when it is going a bit wild, how to tap back into the body. So yeah, it's
absolutely, man. Nervous system regulation, I think, is the key to mastering our realities. And I think we hold nervous system conditions and patterns from such young age, Like I was saying around sexuality, I held these conditions and that might have been rooted through a bad experience. That's just one example. And when I came back to sexual experiences, this nervous system spike would come up. There was fear. My body was in sympathetic, which is fight or flight, versus parasympathetic, which is relaxed and ease. And every time I went back to these experiences, I was closing off. When your body goes into sympathetic, we close off. The energy no longer flows through our body. We no longer get to think clearly. We're in a trauma response to some degree. We're back in the experience we had as a young child that initially brought us to that spike in nervous system. It's like, when we have a trigger in relationships, the same thing happens. We're not in our 30-year-old, 28-year-old brain who can logically understand and has done all this work around relationships. We're back in the 10-year-old boy who is in pain. We're triggered and our wound comes up and all we can feel is, you did this to me. Like I'm closing off and all I can do is defend, because we're back in trigger. We're back in that 10-year-old trauma and it runs so deep.
So you was feeling these wounds and feeling this anxiety, and then you put a prayer out, and then you met this guy. How's the journey been since then? And have you cleared the traumas and the pains? Have you still got more work to do?
There's more work to do. There always is. I don't think we're ever going to be, nor have ever found someone who's perfectly healed. I don't aspire to be. I just aspire to be the best version of myself every day. And, I had to redefine what sexual mastery was to me through quite recently. At one point in life, it was like, cool, I can hold my energy through every experience, never ejaculate, hold my seed and retention, and just be in full physical mastery. I've come to reframe it to, how do I respond to the times which are challenging? How is my emotional response when things don't go the ideal way that I would like them to? And I've found that with every new partner I go through, if I have a new sexual experience with someone else, I still have that nervous system spike. It still lives in there. And it's when I create safety with that person where it then gets to be at ease. And of course, there's so much work I can do on my own, and there's still deeper work I do and will continue to on my own. But how beautiful it is to have a partner that can help regulate that too. I remember the first time, so after that experience with that woman, that event ended eventually. I started another course with another man, Nick Warner, which is a lot about like opening the energetic body, holding more in our sexual center. And I met a woman then, and it was the first person I opened up to about it before we'd ever had any intimacy. And I was like, wow, this is what I'm experiencing. This is why I'm doing these courses. Truth is, I've been struggling with sexuality. I have been challenged with my wounded self to some degree. I have been challenged with lasting long in relationship, and I was terrified to have that conversation. The fucking vulnerability of coming into a woman that I'm considering like having a relationship with and bringing my wounds to her was like, just tightening. And I remember after she received it and she was like, oh, that's so beautiful. I'd love to be of like service and assistance to you on this. And I was like, okay, that was quite possibly the most beautiful thing anyone could have ever said to me. And it still came up a few moments in the beginning, but after like a few weeks, a month of really building deep comfort and safety with our bodies, the sexual experience was amazing. Like we had a beautiful sexual container. I was lasting a long time. We were going deep in pleasure together. And yeah, just, there's always going to be more work. Even today, like I've had a partnership with a woman for a while now, and it's been some of the deepest learnings within sexuality I've ever experienced, but also some of the most challenging too. Like learning the different layers, paces of eroticism that a woman might hold versus a man is so different. And that's been something that I've been exploring and also felt the challenge in too. Naturally men can go 0 to 100 really fucking quick, right? We could be ready to go into penetration in 5 seconds. Woman, like naturally, will take 20, 30, 40 minutes to fully drop into her body. And I had never had a woman so slow in my life. So that was like, this has been like my next step of sexual evolution. Oh, I have to learn to bring my arousal level from here to here and time it, pace it, really slow down. Because if I don't, I'm going to rush her. and she's going to be in conflict with herself, and it's happened many times. And so I think, I'm about 4 years into the journey of my sexuality journey. I've had 4 different teachers so far, but there's a lifelong journey of unfolding, and my nervous system is incredible compared to where it used to be. Like, my sense of groundedness in this world is beautiful compared to where it used to be, but I'm not perfect, and I don't desire to be. It takes away the humanness of the experience. And, ultimately I want to meet lovers who are so willing to be with the ups, the downs, the mess of the human experience. And of course we want to grow. Of course we want to hold someone through magical experiences. But some of the most beautiful moments I've had have been, holding a woman through pain in lovemaking as well. Her feeling trigger and me just getting to hold and nurture that, and then having experience in myself where I felt that little boy and that wound come up, and someone hold me and be like, wow, it's okay because it's you and I love you. And what a relief and a gift to experience. So to answer your question, there's so much work to do, man. It's never ending. That's how I see it. And I don't look at it as like work. It's not like, fuck this, it sucks. Like, it's a gift, it's a gift, an honor to deepen my connection to self through myself and through others.
Yeah, I think it's a great journey, and it definitely sounds like it's your calling, and there's definitely space for that kind of work in this world. Even for myself, like, I'm not at the level I want to be at on that journey of, sexuality and going deeper. It's been a learning process for me, learn how to reprogram from what I learned from a young age in the UK, and growing up with porn and magazines and whatever else. Yeah, so I think it's super important to go, be vulnerable and find a woman or a partner that you can be open with and you can communicate with. I think that's where the growth really happens, and it takes courage for anyone to, instead of like feeling nervous and holding that energy in and, maybe lasting 20 seconds or pre-ejaculating before penetration and just feeling the shame and embarrassment, going, look, actually, I'm feeling really, really nervous right now. And you'll know straight away from the response from the woman if it's the right thing or not. And there's no shame in not doing it,
How beautifully human, how beautiful it is to be human and have these pains as well. And, ultimately we're going to die one day. And if we can learn to accept all the little deaths along the way, it's in preparation for that to some degree, And I've seen these little things as little deaths, I've been like, oh, this little boy came up and he felt so much pain and he dissolved and he died. And then there was a deeper version to meet and keep meeting. And we keep meeting different versions of ourselves and dying along the way as such.
What do you think a good way for men that are maybe experiencing, nervous energy in the bedroom or pre-ejaculation or any kind of anxiety within themselves around that area, what steps can they do to improve that or to regulate themselves?
Yeah. I think everyone's experience is very very different. So there's no one thing fits all. But my main thing is communicate. So many men are on this experience thinking they're alone in it, but you're sharing partnered intimacy. And what is the point of sharing your body if you can't bear your heart, your soul, and your mind with someone? If you're going into an experience with all these conflicts in yourself and you got someone who's there willing to receive you, meet you, hold you, be held by you, what an honor it is to be able to share that experience with them and be like, hey, my love, I don't feel that great right now. Like, I'm experiencing a bit of turmoil. I'm experiencing anxiety. How about we slow down? How about we explore something with less pressure right now, And it takes away the idea then that we're so conditioned to that, I have to come in with this tough fucking front, be this macho man who's got it all together. And to me, there's a degree of that, right? But not if it's self-abandonment, not if it's avoiding truth, And the truth of the experience is, if you're having this challenge, it's alive. You are in an experience with someone, but you're not actually in the experience with them. You are in your own world, in your internal stories, in your internal anxieties. That's unfair to someone.
You're just gonna leak that energy, because when you're intimate with another partner, when you're intertwined, that's an energetic exchange.
For sure.
So yeah, it's a disservice to them to go into it with that energy.
Yeah, and in some way or another, it's masculine leadership to bring the uncomfortable truth to someone. A lot of people see that vulnerability as weakness, as scarcity, as little boy energy, but it's liberating to bring your fears to someone. We're not these like fearless bears in the woods. We're humans with emotions and experiences, and it unfolds uniquely within us. And to share that with someone is great power.
It's funny, I've been having a lot of conversations recently about vulnerability. And the way I see it is, I think it's a beautiful thing to be able to tap into vulnerability as a man, and to be able to share that open communication with not even just your partner, but with anyone. I think it's authenticity, and it's better than holding it in. Like I said, if you hold it in, I feel like that's where it stagnates in the body, and that's where you're wondering why these emotions are coming up.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think there's this level of like very red pill mindset where we hold it in, we sort it out, we go in, we meet a woman, and they don't get to know our emotional world. And I do believe there's a level of polarity with that, right? If we bring this emotional turmoil all the time, of course attraction's going to fade. But if we bring it in with truth, and we hold it, and we step back into our power, instantly it's magnified again, right? It's not like polarity is lost and it's gone forever. It can shift moment to moment. And I think that's the thing where a lot of people get stuck. They're like, if polarity's gone, your woman's not attracted to you. She doesn't want your emotion. Sure, she doesn't want it all the time, and she wants you to take responsibility for it, as we should. But if there's a moment where it needs to be met, bring it. It's beautiful. That's what we're here for. And if your partner can't meet you in that, where's the safe place to be? We're in a world where it's tough to be a man. We live in a beautiful place, right? We have men's groups, we have spaces, we have open-hearted communities, but not everyone has that. So to not be able to come to your relationship as a safe place is terrifying for a lot of men, and they don't have brotherhoods that we can go to. And bring it to your brothers first, but if it's raw in a moment with your partner, bring it. It's what's meant for you is never going to leave. If someone's truly meant to be there on your path, they're not going to be scared because you brought an emotion to them. They're going to be honored that you brought this scary truth to them, and you stepped into your fears and vulnerabilities, then stepped back into your power.
I love that. It's all about, as well, accountability. If you are bringing an emotion, and maybe you've brought an emotion, or you've said something that's kind of out of control, or something that wasn't very nice, then that's where self-accountability and self-reflection comes in, where you're like, now I need to soften, and I need to step into this and go, look, I'm really sorry for the way I acted before. I was acting very emotionally. I should have, said, look, I'm just going to go for a walk. I'm going to go for a run, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Come back to the situation. That's what I've started doing. Once I notice that energy coming up, and it still comes up within me, and it's still a wound that I'm working on, it's like, all right, I see you. What do I need to do? I can either stay here and, get into this word vomit with each other, or we can just take a breath, go, look, I love you. I'm just going to take a breath. I'm going to go for a walk, and we'll come back and communicate. I think communication is the biggest key for any relationship to work. Without openness and communication, I don't think any relationship works, whether that be a partner, or whether that be a business partner, or whether that be a friend. If you're not communicating how you're feeling, or anything in particular that comes to mind that you want to be authentic about, I don't think it's going to work. But like you said, it's there's a way to deliver a message. So you need to make sure that you're taking accountability for how you're acting in that moment. And if you're doing the things throughout the day, so you can be integral to yourself and you can act with integrity as a man and remain calm. And sometimes you're going to lose your mind, not lose your mind, but you're going to lose your shit, and you're going to maybe get, I don't know what the word is. There's many different emotions that could come up. But yeah, bring it back to yourself.
For sure, man. Self-responsibility within our emotional experience, and knowing that when we're in trigger, like you were saying, you know, we can't communicate clearly. It's like I said before, if we go into trigger, we're not in this adult body mindset anymore. We're in that little boy who's triggered, who wants to be seen, wants to be enough, wants to be validated. I got to experience it from an outside perspective the other day of two friends who were in partnership going into conflict. And I was so curious. I just sat there like, wow. And I can see exactly what's going on because I do the same thing. And it was like, as soon as something was said that wasn't what he wanted, he was in defense mode. All right. And when our armor's up, we can defend and we can attack, right? It's like, it's conflict. We're like putting our shield up and we're flinging shit back, not realizing that the person in front of you also just wants to be seen, heard. And we can't meet it always in that moment. I said to them, I was like, look, you guys are in it deep right now. You are in defense mode. You're in trigger. You can't see that you both actually just want love. You want connection. You want to be seen and heard. One of you has to put the walls down, own, love the experience, nurture the person. And then you get to be held later on, maybe when the emotions have been calmed. Or like you said, both take time. Go and regulate. Regulation is needed. And then you come back and you're no longer in that heightened state of mind. You're in a grounded place where you can communicate again. And yeah, I want to spin back to what you were saying before about what you were asking before about what can men do in those moments of, you know, anxiety. What can we do if we're struggling with sexual experiences? Because yeah, communication is huge, and we could blabber on about that for months, man. But there are more too, you know. And I think the biggest thing for me, or one of the biggest things, has been building my sexual relationship to myself before bringing it to my partner. You know, so if I look back on my teenage years, my sexual experience was everything in hiding. You know, under a sheet, with shame, with a screen. Right. So my mind is here. It's getting conditioned to fast dopamine stimulation. I'm trying to get one out as quickly as possible because I don't want anyone to find out. I want it to be done. I want to have that rush of dopamine in my brain. And the biggest reframe is, how do you connect with yourself? And the way that you connect with yourself is going to be the way that you connect with your lover. So take time to nurture your relationship to self first. You know, build a ritual of self-pleasure and connection with your own body. Touch yourself how you would touch a lover. Learn to do that with your own body, then bring it to someone. If you're doing it in, you know, masturbation habits of, boom, it's fast, we got to fucking get this done, you're going to bring that to your partner. You're going to bring that to the partner, and they're going to feel like, whoa, like this is overwhelming. This is disconnected. You're not here with me. You're just doing what you're conditioned to know. And some of the biggest parts of the journey is not like about learning so much, but it's about undoing. It's about unraveling all the conditions and experiences that have built us up to a certain level of like what we know. And for me, it was that, right? It was quick release. It was undercover. And I felt so much shame through these experiences. So, you know, through my own coaching and having people teach me, it was like, cool, what's your relationship like to you? How do you pleasure yourself? Do you spend time? Do you nurture it? Do you take time? And I was like, no, I don't. And if this is a training ground for sexual intimacy with a woman, I've conditioned myself to the last 2 minutes. It's like 3 years and years and years of being a child and being a teenager and just doing it in hiding and quickly as possible. So it was a reframe of, all right, sit down with yourself, calm your nervous system first, drop into connection, and learn to ride the waves of arousal in your body. You know, not just boom here, boom, ejaculate, done. It's here, it's coming back down. It's, going back up. It's getting a bit higher. It's reaching your edge. Trying to come back down. It's reaching your edge. Sometimes going over and spilling and then being like, okay, we learn our edge better next time. And it's, again, going deeper on the waves of arousal. And so the better our relationship to ourselves is physically, the better it's going to come out to our partners too.
I'm thinking about that for myself. Like, I don't personally, when I look at myself, I'm just going to say this on camera, I don't think I love myself enough. And I don't want to speak for all men, but I think a large majority of men probably are in that programming way of porn and quick release. And, when that urge comes, it's like another brain takes over your brain.
It's not that brain, bro. It's that one.
It's connected.
Yeah.
It is. And to have that self-discipline and awareness of like, I see you, I hear you, I'm going to put you back in your place, and I'm in control of this situation. I think that takes some real reprogramming, and that's something I've been going through. Is, all right, I see you.
Yeah.
How do I slow it down a bit and take a breath and realize it's not just about getting to the end point. That shouldn't be the focus. Is just ejaculation and it's finished.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a, even leading up through the day. How are you treating yourself? How are you treating your partner? What are you doing in the house? What are you doing for her? Like, I know for a fact, women, no matter what men think, they don't like the 2-minute powwow finished. Some women might think they do, but
someone
I think
might out there, man.
Oh yeah, I mean they will.
Not.
But I think for that true connection, slowness and setting the scene, and depends on your partner, but maybe communication, talking, having, lighting some candles, setting the room. So yeah,
I think a good way of thinking about it is, we could look at life as sex to some degree. And right now I could ask myself, like, what's the depth of my breath right now? Is it shallow? Is it just in my chest? Or am I breathing down into my genital region every moment? Am I present with the trees, the birds? When I'm with my partner, am I really here with her? Am I listening to what she's saying? And that's going to ripple out into your sex life too. It's, regulation of our nervous system and mind in every moment of life. And, I still get there. I sometimes drink too much coffees and I'm just like, holy shit, I'm so unregulated, and I have to come back to my practice then of like, cool, ground yourself, Brett. Come back to nature, deepen your breath. You're being shallow and you're not actually taking life in anymore. And if I'm not taking life in, I'm not really here experiencing it. I'm just letting it experience me.
It's self-conscious, being self-conscious and self-aware. It comes back to that. Like this, I wonder how many men and women there actually take even just 10 minutes of the day for themselves just to breathe. Like, I wonder when the last time they actually focused on their breath, or even was aware of their breath and gone, I need to just sit with myself and just breathe. We do it naturally anyway, but do we ever focus on it?
Yeah.
It's a reminder for myself, like even doing that breath work with you, I've incorporated it into my daily life because it really regulates and releases any pent up energy, or releases any pent up energy in my nervous system. So I'd love for more men, especially out of this area, even in the UK, I'd love any people in the UK listening to really just know that it's okay to sit still, and you don't have to distract yourself with all these devices, there's so many distractions in this world, and you're wondering why, you're stressed, or you're angry or emotional or
dysregulated. Yeah, I think a lot of it can be fear as well, fear and avoidance. I think so many humans, myself included, for such a long time, I experienced so much emotion in me, but I didn't know how to go there. It was so much easier to seek distraction, either through, TV, the outside world, another human. that when is the time to actually come in here? And I think the world's so fast paced nowadays that people don't give themselves enough opportunity to sit with what's going on internally. They don't trust or know their inner voice anymore because they've outsourced it their whole life. And if you're conditioned to that for 30 years, man, that's not easy to come back to. It's terrifying. There's something in here that's screaming out to be listened to be heard, to be loved, whether it be, an anxiety, whether it be your little boy who hasn't been nurtured enough, whether it be just an experience inside. A lot of people, myself included in moments, are so disconnected from that. And I think it can be scary to confront yourself when you never have in life too. It's not a light journey. It's once you go in, there's no going back, man. It's like taking is it the red pill? Taking the red pill, man. You're in.
It really is. It's just, as soon as you take it and you start doing that work and you realize how painful it is, how ongoing it is. Like, it's not like, oh yes, I'm doing my breath work and I'm working on myself daily and doing all these amazing practices. It's a lifelong journey now, and there's gonna be more challenges and there's gonna be more pain. And like you said, the way that you can view it is this pain's gonna come regardless. There's gonna be pain in everyone's life, everyone's journey. There's pain. So take it, grow from it, and use that to be of service to others. I think it's the greatest gift that any human can possibly do, is turning poison into medicine is one way I like to look at it.
Yeah. Know thyself.
Know thyself is something we all need to do.
Yeah, and what a gift it is to experience this human reality with the full spectrum of sensitivity and emotions, man. To be numb is to be blind to truth, to be blind to the beauty. Like, I had this period of life where I went so deep into grief. And I like the saying, the deeper the grief, the closer is God. And what I realized is the deeper I allowed myself into that pain, the more beauty I experienced simultaneously. It was like this pendulum swing of the deeper I could go over here and feel all the depths of my being, the ugly, the pain, the shames, the wounds, the heart cracked open and it swung back over here, and the magnitude of life I got to experience was crazy. It was like this just opening of, first sometimes the heart has to shatter to open, and the deeper we can go in, the deeper we can go out too.
What other practices other than meditation would you say would help to go deep within and crack open the heart to get to that point? Do you think you can do it alone, or do you think you need guides or mentors?
I don't think you need mentors, but
you need the knowledge and information.
Yeah, imagine trying to do everything on your own in this reality, right? And I used to be like that. I used to think I don't want to look up to anyone. I don't want to have an idol. I don't want to put someone as a role model, because I was like, that takes away from my authority. But this last year has been the biggest year of masculine role models in my life, of people who are walking with such deep integrity in the world, where I get to look at them and I don't pedestal them, but I get to witness them from a place of, I like what you're doing. I like the way you move. I like the way you talk. And I like the sense of self you hold and direct life with. I'm going to learn from that. So I think mentorship is huge in whatever form you seek it, whether it be a coach, whether it be a course, whether it be a men's group, whether it be nature. Everything's your teacher if you give it enough time and grace to be so. I was listening to another podcast recently, and they were talking about romanticizing not just your partner, but everything you do in life. And I took on that day, like, it was like every experience I had with everyone and nature and the car, the little things, I was like, how do I make this into my lover? How do I treat them as a romantic lover? That this microphone, see God in it. It's seeing God in the little moments. So
What do you mean by see God in it?
just see the pure beauty of existence in it. I didn't mean I'm seeing this like holy figure in it, but just being able to see, like, God to me to some degree is just seeing life, beauty, aliveness, right? And just being able to see that in anything. In the moments that we get like stuck down here, it's so hard to see beauty in things, right? And what if I chose to see life as my romantic partner? What a beautiful frame of mind to come into every day. Wake up. All right. Look myself in the mirror. You are my romantic partner today. And that's me, and then ripple it out to my morning coffee, romance myself, listen to music, listen to some songs that I love, dance around the house, do my work with passion and grace, and, look at the homeless man with love, just as you would the most important person in the world, because we're all human and the same. And that's a beautiful mindset to take on board, I think.
No, I love that. I can feel it opening my heart when you say it, because it helps bring you into the present moment if you can do that, rather than, I'm getting in my car and you start up, or you make your coffee and you just drink it because you want caffeine here. It's all very fast paced. So
super.
I think that framing of seeing everything as a romantic partner, I might start trying that out and seeing what I attract in. I think you start attracting more love, beauty, more joy, more beauty, more abundance. And
it's magnetic. People feel it from you and they will reflect it. And if someone's not in that, they'll see it in you and they'll reflect it. We had an experience with a guy the other day who, we were filming a video in a shop. He ran up to us like angry, grabbed our phone. He was like, "You didn't get my fucking son in that video, did you?" Just like infuriated. He grabbed the phone and we're like, "No, man, we're filming a video." We showed him it, just held compassion towards him. And by the end, he was like, "You guys are really chill." And it was like our magnetism just oozed off on him. And he went back to his car smiling because of that experience. And he came in hot. And how quickly we can, magnetize our energy into a high frequency with someone else as well. How much better we can make someone else's day from a smile.
That's awesome, man. Like, something I need to take into account as well is, like, how did you stay so calm when someone brings so much hostility and fire to you? Because me personally, I grew up in an area where it was defense and, fight or flight. And it's like, if someone comes at you, you've got to put your guard up. So to then have the control to be going, "That's all right, man. Like, have a look at this. How did you get to that level?"
Man, I grew up similar, right? I grew up in England as well, same as you. And, it can be a tough place. It can be a tough mindset you put on. I remember being like 12 years old and thinking I was tough, man. Like, I would go out just like hard face on, wearing tracksuits, thinking I was, a bit of a geezer.
I did that once and I got slapped and knocked out.
You got humbled real quick, bro.
Oh, there you go.
And that's it though. We were conditioned to think that that's how we stay safe. That's survival. And again, coming back to the unraveling and unfolding, it was, okay, this isn't serving a life. How do I unravel this experience? And the big thing for me was like festivals which had beautiful open expression, conscious humans coming together in a space where it felt safe to move your body, dance and be free. I remember the first times being on dance floors and spaces like that. And I was like, I'm not going in there. I'm going to be judged like fucking crazy. Like, that's terrifying. And if I was at a dance floor today, I'd be the first one in there, man. Just get moving and start that train because it's so beautiful. And so I think festivals were a big thing of opening that world. Living in Australia, living in a place where it has beautiful, conscious humans, psychedelics, opening my heart through psychedelic experiences and realizing there's more to life than just a narrow mindset of we do one thing, we put on a brave face, but it's like, whoa, this human experience gets to be so vast. And, I think maybe you included, we lived terrified of it for a long time. And it wasn't through the fear of life itself, but probably through the fear of being judged for experienced life so vastly. I remember when you, in England, growing up, if you were expressional, you were gay, and like nothing wrong with being gay, but that was the humor. That was the piss take. It was the shut down. I remember so many times as a child just being shut down in my expression. And when I came to 18, 19 and I started exploring myself, psychedelics, humans, open, beautiful spaces, the unraveling was not easy. It was just a journey of like, oh, okay, there's another edge here. Meet it. There's another challenge here. Meet it. Lean in. And, initially it was...
Edge within.
Hey?
Edge within. Edge within.
Within.
That's the name of this show, because that's what it's all about.
Yes.
Is feeling the edge, whether it be dancing, whether it be talking to someone, whether it be whatever comes up within you that is terrifying, whether it be you're scared of heights, go and jump off a cliff into some water, feel that and take control of it, because you can either feel it and let it control you, or you can feel it and you can go, I'm going to be brave right now and I'm going to face this and I'm going to feel the full heat of it. Like for me, it was dancing. Like you said, in England, it was classed as gay if you danced. And, I only just recently, and I'm still not there yet, just got over that trauma of dance, because I went to an ecstatic dance, and I've spoke about it on a previous podcast, and the heat that came off me, the amount of trauma that came out of me, the amount of like, but then I went to my second one and I was the main character on the dance floor. Like,
you're in, man.
It's like, meet that edge. More people should meet their edges.
Yeah. Experience life wholeheartedly. And, I think that's the thing with like the most successful or courageous people. It's not that they don't feel fear. They feel it and do it anyway. It's do it hurt. Do it while in fear. Push yourself. And I really like the saying, fear is false evidence appearing real. So on the other side of fear, there's nothing. There's freedom. We create these stories in our mind that make something seem so real. So for example, being on the dance floor and being like, everyone's going to be judging me for how I move. In reality, no one's looking at you. There might be one person celebrating you. There might be one person being like, he's a weird dancer. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter and it's not real and it's just here. We are and can be our worst enemies. The outside world is just going to reflect what's in here. And if you're coming in with fear, people will reflect it back to you. But if you break through that, it's contagious. Other people are going to feel it and come in as well.
Do you do any subconscious reprogramming for stuff like that?
Yeah. I actually practice hypnotherapy quite a bit. I have gone on a bit of a hypnotherapy journey of taking other people through that and healing with the subconscious mind. But for myself and my own interpersonal journey, it's been more so visualizing.
What would you visualize?
So, for example, well, I guess maybe it is and maybe it isn't overcoming fears, but even just creating the reality that I want in my life, right? And firstly, visualizing the experience strongly in my mind, and then creating the emotional experience in my body through those visions. And in that place, I'm already magnetizing that experience back to me. And of course, we all want to have beautiful, positive experiences, right? So it's like, if I go into something, I'm like, I'm doomed. Probably are. But if I go into it and I so wholeheartedly believe, no matter all my fears, I overcome my fears through the power of my mind, through the power of my emotions being stronger than the fear. And I just allow that to ripple out and be magnetic. And something that I've been trialing and going into lately is, you probably went into it with Teddy quite a bit, like EFT tapping. Yeah, I've been curious about that. I haven't dove into it enough about really noticing the difference in my experience, but I've been trialing it. So I'll keep you tuned in maybe in a few months of how that experience goes. But I do believe strongly that we can create any reality we desire from our mind and from our emotional body. And it's not easy until you get it. Then it's easy.
Yeah. It's easy when you know.
It's easy when you know. Sometimes it's easy when you don't know.
And this is all part of the journey that everyone's on, and it comes in at the perfect time for each person, whether they're supposed to experience it on their life in this vessel that they're in, and they may never. And it's all individual and it's all perfect in this crazy universe we're in. But yeah, I've tried tapping, and I did it twice one morning after the conversation I had with Teddy. I've only done it once with her. I did a full session, and then I've just done 2 10-minute videos, and I felt a big release come up that day. There was a lot of an emotional release coming out, just tears coming out, and I was like, it shifted something.
Yeah,
I believe that, because it's not frequently that I'll just, feel that overwhelm and just want to cry. So yeah, I believe there's a method to the madness of tapping, and we've got a lot of points on our bodies and a lot of electromagnetic channels, which can be tapped on, and the words, the spells that you tell yourself can reprogram your subconscious.
For sure. One thing I dove into, which just came back to my mind, is like you were speaking of points on the body, massaging like different energy points of the body. One of my sexuality coaches, and I did this mostly through sexuality based kind of things, but it's unblocking channels in the body. It's unblocking stuck energy in the body. So obviously the mind is one thing, but the emotional body stores, right? And if your emotional body's stored with, pains, constrictions, wounds, shames from the past, how hard it is to put something in here and here at the same time. And this is a journey of like massaging deeply into these different areas, these different pain points in our body. And the first time I was doing it, I was on like a 30-day semen retention challenge too. And our coach was like, you'll probably experience a lot of emotion coming up, because what you're doing, one is with the semen retention, you're building your capacity to hold more emotion, and with emotion, with more energy, and with energy is emotion too, right? So you're building your capacity to feel more emotion at the same time. And then you're also going into these points that have never been touched, massaged, but are holding onto stored pains, traumas, and things that we've had for a lifetime. And man, I was bawling. I would go into a session with myself, and I'd be like, the next few days, why am I so sad? And be like, oh, I just massaged my grief point for 10 minutes today. I just massaged all these points of sexual stored trauma that have been in my body, and I allowed them to come up and release. And yeah, I feel like we have to sometimes shed the energetic body and the emotional body, and then reprogram the mind at the same time. So, if we have so much built up within us and within our body, we have to shed. We have to move energy as well at the same time. You can only hold so much, and sometimes you have to release what you're already holding to be able to fill it with new information and new stories too.
It's a new concept, isn't it? Like, imagine telling this conversation, showing it to your granddad and your great granddad, and they'd be like, you store trapped energy within the body and trauma. They'd look at you like you was fucking insane.
Baked beans on toast. That's what they would say.
Yeah, back in my day.
Back in my day, we used to tough it out. We used to not look at the emotions, and we'd get shit done. And they got shit done. And I think to some degree, this world we live in, it'd be like in the spiritual communities have swung the other way as well. We've gone so much into the feeling as men, where the ability to then be in the get shit done is challenging, because you're so much in the feminine, in the emotion, in the the human experience of float and joy. And that's been a balance of coming back for me of swinging deep into the flow, the experience, the everything's beautiful. So then being like, you know what, it is, but how can I still get shit done? I still want to create and cultivate a purpose in my life. And it's all well and good just being down there, and it serves its purpose for a time for sure. And if you got to go deep in it, go deep in it. It's going to unfold. But I think especially as men, we have to swing back the other way, find a balance and be like, we can enjoy the flow and the feminine, but also hold our sternness and our forward momentum in life and create purpose.
What do you do to swing back to the masculine and create purpose?
just do. Like simply, sometimes it's just do. I think grounding is a big thing for me. Just, even take time to work out my body, to just be still in nature, to, get a plan, create a vision. What am I doing in this world? What do I want to serve? And how am I going to do that? It's not going to do itself. And it'd be beautiful if it did, but it's not going to. I've got to be the one to do it. I can be in that flow enough for the vision, the feeling, the emotion, the story to come in and me to receive it. But then if I don't act into that drive, it's never going to get done. So it takes discipline. It takes sometimes, when you want to be in that flow, coming back to a place of, okay, I'm doing this now. And can I still learn to see God in it as well? Like coming back to that, can I still learn to be in joy through this? If I can't, sometimes I just got to do it anyway. And that's still a balance I'm finding. That's still a balance of like when I want to do something versus knowing I have to do something, reorienting myself into, okay, what's going to create the best structure in my life to be in that mindset of doing them. For me, it's, maybe having a morning routine, maybe sitting down with self for 20 minutes. Maybe it's having a certain part of the day that's into that more flow. And then the other part is more disciplined. And it's just finding the balance, because I don't want to be over here. I don't want to be on one side of the spectrum where all I've got is strict discipline. I want to flow and enjoy life and be able to, we live in the most beautiful place, one of the most beautiful places in the world. I want to go to the beach. I want to enjoy life. I want to surf, but I still want to be of purpose in this world. And accountability, self-ownership, that no one's going to do it for me. No one's going to save me. No one's going to create my dream reality for me. It does take hard work, and it does take discipline, and it takes consistency. And I'm looking forward to going deeper and deeper on that journey. It's getting excited by that too. I think discipline is a form of self-love too. And when I thought about it like that, I was like, oh, you're right, because the discipline is saying to myself, I know that you are capable of doing this. I know that you're worthy of having this in your life. So the self-love is proving that. It's saying, hey, there's something I want. There's something I'm capable of doing. Do I love myself enough to go for it wholeheartedly? Or am I going to stay on the fear-based mindset and just flow? But I want to love myself enough to know that I'm capable of doing anything I put my mind to.
Incredible.
Self-love in a different way.
All comes back to the self. Honestly, I'm just taking that in.
Take your time.
Beautifully worded.
Yeah, man. There was something you tuned into a little bit before, which I was curious about. You kind of spoke about like the divine unfolding of life and how things come to us as we're supposed to get them in our right timing. I'm curious, like, what your thoughts are around that. And, if you think how much of this life is pre-planned, if you think it is, or how much is it just in response to your frequency? And even with like lovers, partners, do you think it is, destined to some degree? Do you think there's a version of ourselves that comes in and makes agreements as such that we're going to meet in this lifetime and we do have some work to do? Or do you just not?
I think it's a good question. And I think there's pre-made paths for each person, dependent on what energy your frequency is on. If you choose to ignore the discipline and you ignore to tap into the self, and you're constantly just, feeding yourself with substances and distractions, you're going to go down one path. But saying that might be why in this lifetime you came to Earth, is just to go through that. You may never have been put on this earth to go down the path of self-discipline, self-love, courageous acts and acts of service to others. So I think there's going to be people on this planet that are going to just, no matter how much they could listen to this podcast, and they'll still just go straight back into the programming and they won't breathe and they won't meditate. But then there'll be someone that destiny has brought them to listening to this, and they've heard this conversation. They're going, you know what? I'm going to start doing 10 minutes of breath work each morning. I'm going to start journaling. I'm going to start visioning, and I'm going to start tapping. I'm going to start being more aware of the words that I use. They might not do it all at once, but I do believe that you attract the right people at the right time, dependent on the energy that you emit. Yeah, so it probably goes much deeper than that.
It's a big question.
But ultimately, it comes down to what energy are you emitting? What frequency are you emitting? What are your thoughts? What are your words? What do you believe? How much pain are you willing to put yourself through? How many edges are you willing to meet? Because the more that you do that, the more that you're going to evolve, and the more that you're going to step into your true authentic self, and you're going to find the real reason why you're here on this earth. If you go the other route, you're just going to live a life of unauthenticity, I'd say, and unfulfillment from the deepest part of your souls. Because I was going down that journey, that path. I've been on the other side of numbness and drugs and travel and chasing dopamine hits and chasing short-term hits. And then the universe brought to me my beautiful partner that I've got now, who helped me tap into the other side of things, help me soften, help me understand again of spirituality, emotions, how to feel, how to break cycles. And it loops back to having a safe container of a partner to be able to do that with. And yeah, I wasn't really looking for a long-term partner, but it happened. And then we went through an earthquake together, a massive earthquake, which was insane.
An actual earthquake?
Yeah, in Indonesia, we went through a huge 7.3 after a few months of being together, and that just really tested, us as a partnership. I could go into that. It's very, very, very wild experience. But 7 years down the line, hope it's 7 years, we've now got a 2.5-year-old daughter, which I've spoke about before. Having a child just unlocked my heart in a way that I never knew was possible. I thought I knew what love was, and then I had a child, and I was like, this is unexplainable love. You just can't imagine how it feels to create another spirit and another soul in a little vessel. And it's my biggest teacher in this world. And I believe all of these steps in the past of me going down the unhealthy role to then meeting my partner in Indonesia, going through an earthquake, and just getting moved out of this environment I was in and pushed to a new one, helps the growth within me. And now I'm here in one of the most beautiful places in the world with conscious-minded, self-aware people, men that actually love and care for one another, where you can go to men's circles and you can be vulnerable and you can have conversations and you can dance and not feel judged. So yeah,
man. Congratulations, first of all. Like, I've witnessed you, your partner, and your daughter together, and it's so beautiful to witness, to see such a loving family, and to see you creating this and showing up in the world. Like, that's on you as well. That's honorable, and it's amazing to be able to share that with the gift of two beautiful other souls. Is two beautiful, like, lovely women as well, like beautiful little girl and beautiful partner you have as well, man. It's inspiring for me to see that. When I met your daughter, she melted my heart. I was like, wow, what a lovely little bundle of love you are. What an honor to share 20 minutes by your side. It's inspiring, man. And congrats. That's to some degree the most beautiful part of this human experience.
Yes, I thank you. First of all, I appreciate it, and I'm very, very lucky. I'm very blessed to have landed in this situation. And I look back and I'm like, what did I actually do to deserve this? What? I think I just got so fucking fed up of the person I was, that I was just so ready. I was like, I'm so ready. Like, I don't know what my life is, but just came back to prayer in despair. Show me, bring me a woman that I want to love, because I was a womanizer in a way, you know, just unconsciously thinking that's what I wanted, but just doing it through avoidance and pain. And then I met the love of my life, and yeah, I don't really know what shifted, but I do believe that the universe put in front of me, you know, a chance to change, and I felt it. I was tapping into myself, and I was like, this is, you know, the opportunity. And we didn't mess about. We weren't like, oh, let's take it slow. She moved in within a month or two into my home in Indonesia, and we just was like very open, and was like, if this doesn't feel right for you, if this at any point gets uncomfortable and you just don't feel like I'm the person that you want to be with, no problem. You can just, honestly, there's no hard feelings. You just go on your own travels and go your own way, and I'll do the same.
Yeah, man.
So,
yeah. And the beautiful ability to know that, you know, if this is right, we'll be here, and if it's not, we can walk away.
Just trust your intuition within. I think that's the biggest lesson for anyone in this world, is how does it make you feel? There's going to be moments where, like, you know, you're getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning because you're going to journal or meditate or go to the gym. It's not going to feel great, but they're the moments where you go, this is actually good for me. Like, this is the moments where I need to ignore that part of, this isn't good, I want to go back to bed. It's different to the intuition that I'm talking about. It's like when you meet someone and you can feel it. So yeah, and it honestly brought me purpose, because before that I was wondering what is my purpose. Like, I was just traveling to all these different countries and experiencing different cultures and all these different jobs and meeting all these different people, and I just hit a point of empty. I was like, I'm so empty right now. I should be so happy traveling and seeing all these beautiful countries, but it was just, didn't matter what country I went to, I hit a point of depletion. I was like, I don't know why I'm doing this anymore. I don't know what the reason for me traveling to all these countries in, but it does not feel right for my soul. And then having a child, I feel reproduction is one of the biggest and most God-given rights for men and women. I feel like it's brought me back to my true purpose, is to reproduce and repopulate, and just to experience from a child what my biggest reflections are. She's my biggest teacher, like the biggest. She tests me every day. I'm like, I have to breathe and just have to, like,
that's regulate,
because she's 2.5 and she's so intelligent. And I believe that she chose me as a father. Like, you can go even that deep. Like, did she choose me as a father and Tash as a mother? And I feel like she's chosen me to teach me what I need to learn, and I've chosen her, or she's chosen me to teach her what she needs to learn. So yeah. What do you think about it all?
What's the question?
Yeah, I think the question was about
about, like, destiny and that intertwining of the magic of the universe. It's quite interesting, the type of hypnotherapy that I practiced, and that was past life regression. And, you know, in my mind, there's no doubt at all that reincarnation is a thing in this world, right? And even my teacher speaks too strongly that souls choose their parents before we inhabit this earth. And she also speaks, this is Dolores Cannon, by the way, that's my hypnotherapy teacher, one of the first people to discover past life regression and to go so deep with it. It's incredible. And I trailed off there. I'm not sure what I was saying.
Let's go into hypnotherapy, because I know we're talking about, you know, the universe and what's aligned, and it's very deep, and we could go on for hours about it. So I think that's the universe going,
all right, hypnotherapy.
Yeah, like, it came up again there. So you've been learning about hypnotherapy. How does that look? Like, how different is it from meditation?
Yeah, well, it's similar to meditation in some ways. It's just about the certain brain state that you can access within either a hypnotherapy session or a meditation. Some people, the aim usually through a hypnosis session is to take someone into a theta brain state. And in a theta brain state, we're more receptive. Our subconscious is more receptive to change as such, to influence, to creation, even as we were speaking earlier about like manifestation and prayer out into the universe. Supposedly that all comes through the theta brain state, and that's when we can access the ether as such, and this type of hypnotherapy particularly, it looks like it's taking someone through a past life regression. So it's guiding them into a deep state of relaxation. You can do this through meditation for sure, but with someone guiding you, things get easier sometimes. We don't know how to take ourselves there all the time. And it's journeying through this past life and seeing if there is a lesson on the other side of it, seeing if there a lesson from this life that I can take into today. Is there something that this life had to show me today? And usually, the subconscious will guide you to the right place you're supposed to go. And there's usually a lesson there to implement into daily life. And, that's when it gets really interesting, because it's like, how do we access a past life? Is that possible? And it's kind of this belief that in the theta brain state, we get access to almost like an energy source, which is all-knowing. And often after a past life, we'll take someone into a direct contact with their subconscious. And in that state of being, we can communicate directly with the subconscious, which sometimes is like speaking to another entity. They'll occupy a different voice, a different tone. They'll speak about the person in third person. So I'll ask, do I have permission to speak to your subconscious? I'll be like, yes. And they might have a list of questions, right? And this entity, this subconscious, this all-knowing being, sometimes you can put it, whether you believe in it or not, whether it's just part of our mind that has access to these things, or whether it's connected to a higher power of some degree, who knows, man. But the things that I've experienced in there have been profound. The information they've been able to gain from things that you would never know. I've had people in past life regressions cry their eyes out saying, my little girl, like I'm with my child in another lifetime, and just start bawling their eyes out. I've been in sessions with someone where they've been visually witnessing themselves riding into battle on a horse. Been in session with people when they felt pain from these past lives, and I've had to be like, okay, you will no longer feel the pain. You're separate from that experience. You're safe. So it's kind of like tapping into an all-knowing universe of a human and all of their potential lives that they could have lived.
It sounds like something I want to believe in. Like, why would you go, that's not true, that's not real? It's like, actually, why not explore it? See what happens, see what lessons you can learn from it. Like, there's no point in this world being so close-minded to everything, because our brains, we don't access all of our brain. There's so much to this universe and the energetics of this universe that we still don't understand. There's so much wisdom and knowledge that's yet to be, uncovered. I think this reality that we're in goes so much deeper, and we as humans don't fully, and we can't fully fathom the scale of the power of it all, and the power of the subconscious, the power of the mind, the power of words and thoughts, the power of being in a relationship with everything around you. Imagine how your life would change.
Yeah, and maybe to some degree it is all in your mind. But at the same time, everything I'm experiencing right now is happening in my mind. You're having a different experience to me right now. I'm not in your body, your mind experiencing it. So everything that I do experience ultimately comes from here. So what's the difference of this reality and dream reality and, going into a past life? Does it make it not real? Does it make it just in the mind? Maybe. But ultimately, everything is experienced up here. So there's no point in thinking, oh, what if it's only just made up in my mind? This experience is made up in your mind. It's made up of enough like belief systems and things that add to seeing the world as it is, in the way that we can see it. If we looked at everything as it is, as energy, it wouldn't look the same as it would through our perception. Even the way like a bird might see the world would be so different to us, and it's all perception of what our mind can see. And that's individual to every human experience. Of course, there's a collective view on what we do experience, right? But everyone's unique. People have access to different things, I believe. And, you know, like you could say psychics, some people don't believe they're real. I just believe they're tapped into a different dimension that we can't see in day to day. They have a crossover of two worlds as such. They have an access to maybe closer to spirit, closer to whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I'm starting to open up a bit more to all of the different possibilities of what humans can do and what they can experience, because we just keep pushing the limits, and magic does happen when you believe it. So I think if you've only got this one life in this vessel, why not change your thoughts? Why not look at things as love, as joy, as a challenge, as a lesson, rather than why does this keep happening to me? You know, step out of the victimhood, step into the lessons and the learnings, and feel the pains, and go into the edges and push your limits, push your boundaries, test your mind, test your body. Yeah.
Well, that's it. Even if there is reincarnation, you get to live another life. You get to live this life once. You get to live this body, this vessel, this experience one time. Do it wholeheartedly. Give it your all.
You could come back as a mosquito, so you might as well enjoy yourself.
I hope not. I don't like mosquitoes that much. That's one thing that tests my patience, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
If there's one thing I need to do to learn like regulation, it's probably sit with flies and mosquitoes. They're coming now. I'm starting to itch and get
Welcome here. We're both in this reality getting eaten by mosquitoes, my friend. But
can I learn to love a mosquito?
Does a mosquito have a soul?
That's a good question. It's a good question.
I don't know, man.
I don't know either. Why not, though? Right? Why not? It's alive. It's doing things.
Spreading diseases and giving me loads of mosquito bites.
Yeah, but I think as well, you know, you go into like the ecosystems of the world, and I believe that mosquitoes actually have a vital role in this world of keeping one thing or two things alive, which then keep one thing alive, and then it ripples out. And without mosquitoes, the world might collapse. There might not be humanity.
Exactly, and we wouldn't be tested, and we wouldn't grow even more from getting all these little bites on our legs and feeling the mind going, you need to get away. But yeah, how beautiful it's been, just the trusting in nature, like even to get you on this podcast recording in my back garden, because this is what the universe has provided for me right now. And I set it up,
man,
and all the rain came in, and I was packing everything away, put it in my shed, and my partner's like, oh, maybe just do it next week. I'm like,
hallelujah, bro.
I'm gonna trust that this rain is gonna pass. And it passed, and we've managed to have a beautiful conversation for however long. I don't know what time is right now. I don't know how long it's been, but yeah, you've shared a lot of really cool insights, and it's been a pleasure to sit down with you and share energies and talk about something that is usually probably not very easy to talk about for most men. And I would never have imagined that I'd be sitting here talking about, you know, sexuality and pre-ejaculation and anxiety within the bedroom. But obviously it was supposed to happen. I trust that.
Exactly, man.
I want to know, for anyone listening, where can, you know, they find you? Where can, I know I saw you've just released 3 courses. Do you want to tell us a bit more about them?
Sure, man. I've got pretty much my best point of contact is social media, Instagram. You can find me at Brett Lloyd, BRETT LLOYDY. Got it. Yeah, I just pretty much spent a few weeks sitting in a space, filming, recording content. And these have been tools that I have learnt over the last 4 years. So I've created 3 courses. One is overcoming premature ejaculation and learning to last longer in the bedroom. The second is overcoming performance anxiety and mastering the nervous system. And the third is opening up the energetic body, and deepening pleasure within the self. And these are things that I've taken from 4 years of learning through self-practice, through other courses, through incredible teachers around the world, which I've invested years, thousands of dollars into practicing with humans, practicing with self. So if you want to find me, Brett Lloyd on Instagram, those are my course offerings. I offer one-on-one coaching around men trying to create better intimate lives with themselves and with partners, because I do wholeheartedly believe that every man is deserving of living an incredible sex life, a rich, beautiful, fulfilling sex life. So I understand how it feels to be alone on that journey. And if you are a man who's struggling with it, reach out. I'm so here to help. I'm so here to hear your story. I'm so here to guide you through the tools and things that I've been through on my personal journey to share with the world, to help guide other men through these similar experiences. And yeah, it gets to be beautiful.
Even if you think you know it all and you think you've mastered it, I think there's still more to learn. I'm going to check it out, man. I really want to delve into it and go deeper within myself. So lastly, I want to know about these two beautiful gifts that you gave to me.
Cool.
Tell us about what these guys do.
Yeah, so this is a company I started about 2 years ago called Embody Man. So it's the sense of being embodied as a man. The idea actually came to me when I was on a hike overseas, and I was like, what am I doing with my life? Like, before I went away, I was practicing like different herbal tinctures around sexuality and libido and nervous system. And this idea just came to me. And I was like, cool, I can do that. I want to create this. How do I create potent herbal formulas that can help bring the male body back to harmony with nature? So I went on 3 different things, which were the things that I struggled with around sexuality mostly. I'm putting it out there more towards like vitality and life now, but huge within sexuality too. So that one is a natural libido and testosterone enhancement formula made from strong herbs that basically just help the body in a natural way of creating a better environment for a good sex drive. That one is a nervous system regulation tonic, so anxiety challenges, calming, grounding. I also have a blood flow tonic, and I have a aphrodisiac hot chocolate.
What's an aphrodisiac hot chocolate?
Aphrodisiac is basically herbs that enhance your sensual experience. So I've created it as kind of like the ritual way of come into a sexual experience with your partner, with yourself. Have a cup of this hot chocolate. It's going to enhance the experience. It's going to open your body, open your blood vessels. It's going to have herbs in there that are going to make you feel a little bit more invigorated and such. And
it's like a cacao, but with more.
Yeah, it's sexy cacao.
Sexy
cacao. And I just wanted to create something that, firstly, I was my ideal like customer. I was like, what do I need? First of all, I want a better libido and testosterone. I want calm nerves, and I want strong blood flow, whether it be in the gym or whether it be in the bedroom. And then I want to enjoy something with my partner. So it was pretty much, I made it for myself. Then I was like, other people want this. I want to share this with the world. It's a gift to be able to give my medicine in different forms. And right now it's offering itself through herbal tonics and one-on-one coaching.
Love it. Yeah, I was reading the ingredients and it all seems so pure and healthy. Some of them I can't say. I'm not even going to try, but yeah.
Yeah, some of the most potent herbs known to man through thousands of years of existence as well.
I'm excited to try them. I'm wondering what's going to happen. I'm a bit.
Yeah, the taste of that one is very bitter. I do warn you. So do what you can to mask it. I've done my best, but Tongkat Ali specifically is one of the most bitter herbs that I've ever experienced in my life.
No.
Yeah.
I'll let you know how it goes.
All right, I look forward to it.
Yeah. Any last leaving messages to the world, to men, to women, to the universe, anything that comes up for you?
Stay true to yourself. Live as wholeheartedly as you possibly can. and just say yes to life. It's so good when you do. Like, it gets to be so beautiful. And if you're stuck in a rut, just remind yourself that it gets to be beautiful. Yeah.
Great message. Well, thank you for being here. Thanks for sharing and being so flexible with the arrangements and just sharing your wisdom with the world.
My pleasure, man. It's been an honor. Thank you so much.
We'll do this again in the near future and do round 2, I think.
I look forward to it, bro.
All right, brother. Till next time.
Thanks, man. Nice.
Oh, mate, that was great. Yes, brother.
Oh, that was a good chat, man.
Some magic in there. I know it.
The switch can come so quick, though.
Yeah.
You just get into like full flow mode and kind of forget about
1 hour 30. Perfect.
Nice.
Man.
It's a nice sized podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
Ah.